Hey, Heidi McDonald of comicsbeat.com at WonderCon 25. This year sponsored by The Buzz, our new newsletter of comics business news, still coming one of these days. I am here with the folks behind Defiant, the story of Robert Smalls. We have beautiful visual aids here. All right, we have Marvin Jones, Rob Edwards, Dave Baxter. Welcome back. You have been on the Beach Show
Thanks for having
before.
us.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's always great to check in.
So Defiant is the story of guy Robert Smalls. When he was a kid, he kind of grew up as a rich white boy, for his owner. And when he was 23, he was working on a ship, the Planter, which ferried munitions from one place to the other for the Confederacy. And he noticed that the white crew would leave every night. And so one night, he decided at 3 a.m. he was going to steal the Planter, take the families, the crew members, and their families, and then go to freedom. So he takes off, puts on the captain's hat and gloves, and gets through 5 military checkpoints, surrenders the boat on the other side, which is full of munitions, so the bounty of it makes him a wealthy man. He immediately talks to Lincoln, convinces Lincoln that black people should fight for the Union. He starts a railroad. He starts a printing press. He runs for Congress 5 times and wins. And I think the most heroic thing he did was died of old age. And that is the story of Robert Smalls.
Fantastic. So, we had you at San Diego where we're talking about this, but now the book is coming out, right, on Juneteenth. And the movie is underway. So what's going on? Give us the update. Where are we at now?
Yes. Well, yes. Listen, as an executive at Legion M, this is the priority project, and because the graphic novel is finally coming together. I mean, the individual issues, the first 2 issues are already out. The next 2 are on their way. The plan is Juneteenth will have the actual comic in hand. That's sort of the perfect time for us to introduce this to Hollywood. There's a transition that needs to occur. Also, there's comics and then there are screenplays, and how to get that done is there's an art to it. So
if only the author of the graphic novel was also a screenwriter.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be really, really great?
Have you thought of that?
Wouldn't that be I wonder who could
all right,
write
I'll
that.
say it here. The person writing our script for Defiant is Rob Edwards.
Yes. Oh, boy.
What a surprise.
Shocker.
What a I
Never saw that coming.
Well, I mean,
on your bingo card.
I'm telling you, it was just that it was, we heard that you were doing this little movie called Captain America: Brave New World. Maybe we should think about
Hey, that guy, he can type.
But it is super exciting because we feel like, this is a time when these kind of stories, they need to be told.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
You know what? Let's circle back to that incredibly important idea and just talk about, so you're saying you're going out and pitching this movie, so it's already...
We don't need to pitch the movie.
No, that's the whole idea. This is the pitch.
Oh, I see. I see.
That the idea of, that everywhere you go, people are going to say, hey, what's the IP? And so rather than buying the rights to a book or anything like that, that is not really going to tell the story the way we want it to be told, this is it. And what's great is that the guys at Stranger Comics, Sebastian and Daryl and Josh have put together basically a movie on paper.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's as cinematic as could possibly be, and you see the movie when you read the book.
Right. And Marvin, what is your connection to this?
I'm a producer on the
Okay,
project.
right.
Yeah,
So you're
been for a long
excited for
time
the
now.
whole
I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm just being quiet. The
quiet producer is something.
I'm just being quiet. But no, it's been a beautiful journey to see where we've come, how far we've come. We still have a long way to go, but I like to look at things from a place of how far we've come. The long way to go is definitely developing the film, pre-production, production, and release. And excited to get there. Juneteenth, the entire project comes out, so pumped about that. I think Juneteenth is a very apropos date for this project to come out.
And wait, what about an album for this?
Hey,
Who's the guy who knows about music in our group?
you know any musicians in the crew?
I don't know what they're
Maybe
talking
one
about.
of the, maybe one of the producers.
So you all bring different talents to this project, is what you're trying to hint at?
My talent isn't bringing music to this project. But no, but whatever is needed. No, my project is bringing, my talent is bringing whatever is needed.
Right, okay,
So
well, that is
there
the
could
person
be,
we
there
love,
will be
actually, yeah,
music.
yeah.
There will be some music, hopefully a beautiful soundtrack. What genre of music it may cross genres, I think. I think the beauty about Robert Smalls is he's not a monolith. He's did everything exceptionally well. And, yeah.
So I'm going to circle back. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, because it's just like, okay, you guys, you came in last July and came to our room at Comic-Con San Diego, had a wonderful chat.
Yes.
And, birds were singing, the sun was shining.
Link in the description.
Yes, link in description.
Link in the
Link in description. A happy world,
Yes.
Things were optimistic, there was hope in the world. And since then, a lot of things have changed in the world, and
What happened?
What?
What?
What I missed?
My Wi-Fi shut down.
I've been asleep. I've been asleep.
Yeah, that was
I've been asleep. What I missed?
Well, look,
I went to sleep on November 6th.
yeah, I watch these bear videos of the mama bear hibernating with the baby, and I'm like, they are my refuge, because I'm like,
Yeah.
what a beautiful world. You just sleep and, wake up and
That's
play
me.
with the baby bear once in a while, right?
you go.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you can't sleep, and sometimes you gotta be, I don't know, defiant.
You got to stay in there.
Fine.
Exactly.
Look, it's just we talked about, we need these stories, and now we're being told not only are these stories not needed, not wanted, but they're illegal.
Yes.
Illegal.
You have to burn them.
We have to burn them, we have to take them down. We don't have heroes who don't look a certain way, we don't have, I can't even talk, I'm becoming so angry. And I can't even imagine what, so how do we stay defiant?
Yeah.
Like, really, how do we stay defiant? How do we keep on with these stories that absolutely are great stories? It's just a great story about a really cool guy who did cool things. That's all it is, right?
Well, I think when we started talking, it was already in the zeitgeist, and I think we started saying, like, look, we can't write a book. You got to meet kids where they are, and so it's either going to be a video game or it's going to be a comic book or a graphic novel.
Still could be a video game.
Could
Yeah,
be a video
sure,
game.
absolutely.
There's a lot of action. There were 17 battles. So and the idea was, if you put like when we were kids, we always had comic books. There was a comic book store like a half a block away from me, which is why I loved Marvel, and you find a way. You scrounge together. Okay, you got a nickel, I got whatever.
Yeah, right.
Let's buy, Spider-Man, and you find a way to get those comic books, and so something like this. Hopefully, this is that to a new generation. That it's something that can be shared. It's something that the books themselves can go viral, and you don't need the establishment, whatever, to put them in kids' hands. Kids will do the work for us.
Right.
And so you can, and hopefully, whatever, you can ban them, whatever, great, that'll just make it cool.
That's exactly
You can burn them, people will say like, oh, great, the value goes up, and like, hey, I got one of these things. It's available digitally, so, so that gets, that gets under the doors. And hopefully that's the way the story gets out, because it's just too inspirational to not get out.
Right. Now, has any of the atmosphere that you find yourselves, the reaction to the book changed in this new world we find ourselves to? Are you finding new reactions to it, or is it?
I've been finding that people are hungrier for it.
Yeah. People are just
You
thirsty.
know?
People are thirsty for truth.
Yeah.
Nothing, people aren't, it's one of the oldest, books in the world. Has a story of a woman who was thirsty for truth.
Yeah.
So that is the world over, I think, even in this time, the days of as they darken.
Yeah.
I think it makes people even more thirsty for truth.
Yeah.
Well,
We just did a panel, and one of the people who came up for the Q&A said, I'm a teacher. I'm a Black history teacher, and I have never heard the story. And how can I get them, and how can I get the teacher supplement?
Right.
And unfortunately, we have an answer for that, too. So I think that's the way it's going to happen.
So I mean, honestly, I find comfort in this. I find like just being able to say, hey, guess what? Like I said, this is a really great story about a great American, and that's kind of just what it should be, not, and that people believe in that still. And it's kind of what you were saying about the truth. We do find comfort in just like, oh yeah, people still believe in empathy and.
and there can be activism through art.
Yes,
Look, there are a lot
absolutely.
of people out there who are creative, and you can try to crush it, but it always finds a way.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, comics very political. I mean, they are very
Always.
subversive,
Always.
always.
Yes.
Goya with his Prince, I mean, that was one of the earliest comics, and
Fabulous Freak Brothers.
Yeah, Fabulous Freak
We got to
Brothers.
figure that Stan Lee named a character Black Panther
Yes,
during the
that's right.
70s.
That's right, that's
And
right, yeah.
So you start there, and you got to remember that part of it is that Robert Smalls saw the world was not the way he wanted it to be, and he bent the world to his vision of what it should be. He raised his family in the home that he was enslaved in.
It's amazing.
Yes,
He did that.
he started. He said, after this slavery ended, there were all these families who couldn't connect with their loved ones because they'd been sold off. So he started a printing press so that everybody could call out, who their family members
So he
were
was
because he
doing-
couldn't get it. Yeah.
He was doing the right thing.
Yeah, he started a railroad because people who were trying to start businesses couldn't get, there. He was illiterate, and he started public school systems because he realized the importance of it, ran for Congress 5 times and won. I mean, if he can do that, we can sell.
We could do a comic book.
We can slide some comic books under
Right.
doors.
And the times we lived in were much darker than our times.
Yeah.
Much.
Much darker.
I hope
As
you're right,
bad as
Mark.
we think.
I'm going to stick by that, thanks. All right, well, I find this message, I'm very glad you guys.
Are you comforted by that?
I am comforted. I am comforted.
Do you
need a hug?
by
Will you
this.
sleep?
We're going to get through this together. Let's talk a little bit, though, about, just comic books in general. Who's some of your favorite comic books?
I mean, I
Yeah.
learned to basically read and write from Stan Lee on Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Fantastic,
Yeah.
how do you get better than that?
Yeah.
That was my childhood.
Yeah. Rob?
See, I'm always boring, I guess, because Spider-Man, I couldn't miss an issue of Spider-Man when I was 9 years old. I had to read every single one, and then I think I moved on to, Iron Man, Hulk, and then worked my way through the MCU. But that was, man, I tell you, my big brother. Here's a terrible story.
Can you believe that you wrote Captain America?
Well, that was the thing. You talk about dreams come true. Two
Right.
dreams come true. One is I wrote a movie that became a ride at Disneyland,
Right.
and then the other is, here's a little boy who grew up, with Marvel Comics, who gets to write, Captain America,
All right.
Brave New World. But here's the fun story: is my big brother broke his arm pretending to be Spider-Man.
Uh-oh,
He was
yeah.
climbing. He was trying to entertain me, and he climbs up on the hamper in the bathroom. Climbs up on the towel rack, gets all the way up there. Snap! Boom! Breaks his
Oh,
arm.
man.
And so Spider-Man is part of our family
Very good, I guess.
for a good
yeah.
long time. Yes.
Marvin, are you a big comics or
Yeah.
into comics?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, well.
he lived
Yeah,
there.
right,
I
exactly.
mean, aside
He
from,
is-
the
Well,
obvious Black Lightning, but yeah,
I guess you're a killer of
yeah.
superheroes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
that's my thing.
Yeah.
he went after.
Spider-Man.
He went
Yeah,
after.
The Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But for me, growing up, it was definitely Fantastic Four, the Avengers, X-Men. I liked when things came together. amalgamation of the great superheroes. And Iron Man, to this day, is one of my favorite, just
They're-
comics, movies, Iron Man.
You guys are
yeah.
all Marvel.
Tony
then-
Stark makes
and
you
Marvel,
feel he's a
but then-
cool exec
but
with a
then
heart of steel.
My favorite superhero, though,
And all gets the,
is Batman.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Batman.
My
No,
favorite
Batman's,
superhero
yeah.
is Batman.
Batman's amazing.
Batman's amazing.
Yeah.
He really is the coolest superhero ever, to me,
kind of
in my humble opinion.
Because he wasn't super. It was all in the
Exactly.
Yeah.
great.
And you know, Rob, I'm going to ask you one question. There is a little bit of a rumor that, or it's been said that, and just answer as best, whatever you can
Yes,
say.
exactly. I have a feeling you're going to ask me a question I cannot answer.
Yes. At Marvel Studios, that a lot of the writers did not know about, or were hired because they didn't know about comics, or in spite of that. Obviously, you know about comics. And
No, I think, yeah, well, the deal is.
did you have to
because
pretend you didn't?
Well, because I kind of worked on,
Captain
yeah.
U.S., that's great.
Yeah, I had worked on a couple of projects before Captain America, and what I find that's always fascinating is that they give you, kind of a Marvel portal, and you get to read all the comics you want, and they will put more comics into your book. And you get there into the meeting, and you say like, well, I read this thing, and it was, this thing happens, and Kevin and Nate Moore, and they just go, oh, yeah, that's issue so-and-so of the blah, 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 and it's on page so-and-so, and here's what happens in that thing. And they have memorized everything.
Wow.
So you're
Okay.
in a world of guys who, it's like family, where you, like, these guys really, 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 really know their stuff, and they really
Yeah.
take it seriously, and that is wonderful. I can't see being a writer and coming from outside of the geekdom and trying to make way, because I think you're going to make huge mistakes.
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, Kevin has talked about, he wasn't a big nerd, for sure. Kevin Feige, that's the Kevin we're talking about, Kevin Feige, because, Kevin, my friend Kevin. And he said he wasn't a big nerd, but like.
He wasn't a big comics reader.
Right, yes, yeah, okay,
But he
yes,
eventually-
that's a good
He was
catch,
a filmmaker.
Dave. Good
Filmmaker
catch,
first,
Dave.
yes,
Yes,
exactly.
And, but he nailed it. Hey, look, I'm not gonna say he didn't figure it out, so of course you can, come to this and understand. I just think it's, I don't know, that story always intrigues me, so I had to
Yeah.
ask.
No,
You're obviously,
I would have to.
you know your stuff.
Well,
You
that was
passed
not
the
my
test.
experience, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it was for a bunch of people.
Yeah.
who were over there.
So, well, I feel like the movie's taken some of the best of the comics and, put it out there most of the time. The ones that are the most
But it is-
successful.
It is
have done
character
that.
first, though. That is
Mm-hmm.
the thing. It is character first in story. Character, story, stories, character. So you are always leaning towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I think that, results,
I mean,
speak for
those are the best comics are the ones that were cured. That's why the Fantastic Four, I think, and the Avengers and the X-Men, where you had family structures.
Yep.
It all goes
Yeah.
back to
Oh,
when
yeah.
when you've got a family structure and, people arguing.
Yeah.
That was what made Marvel Marvel.
Yeah.
was That it felt like, you're talking to your uncle or your aunt or.
And that's one of the things we're trying to do with Defiant, that as big as it gets, as, there's the Civil War, there's all kinds of things going on during Reconstruction, but it's really about a guy who's trying to make a life better for his family. He sees a world that does not work for him. He sees that his family in every day is in danger, that somebody, that Kingman, his wife's owner, is going to sell off part of his family at any day, and that would just devastate him. And he sees a way to make that not happen by stealing the planter and going. So you start with that little thing that everybody universally, black, white, young, old, can identify with, and then that becomes your through line through the story.
Well, I think it's great that people are trying to do things a little bit better in the world and make things a little easier for each other and, improve things. That's really progress, human progress. So, you guys, Marvin, Rob, and Dave, it's always great to talk to you. It's always great to hear the
Likewise.
Defiant story. I bet we'll see you at San Diego this year.
We see you at San Diego. Hopefully we'll have some nice announcements about the movie.
Okay, all right. Well,
About the movie.
we look forward to it. Thanks for coming
Thank you
by.
for having us.
Yeah.
Great
Once
pleasure.
again, Heidi from Comics Beat, out.